Very important contest this for the blonde-bearded Roy Webb, announced as coming from Belfast, but is from Larne in County Antrim. And the man who up until a couple of years ago was very much in line for a crack at the British bantamweight title. He perhaps has forgone all notions of that, his career having slid somewhat, and he needs to get back on the road, and it's a road which may, he hopes, take him to the British featherweight title. To get back on that road, he's got to beat his opponent, the clean-shaven gentleman with the black trunks, and that's the 26-year-old Joe Donohue from Walworth in London. Donohue, a pretty useful performer. He's won 7 of his 9 contests, all of them in points. He's had a draw, and he's lost just 1. Webb, a pretty good record, 17 contests, 14 victories, a draw and 2 defeats. And he's put on a fair bit of weight, Roy Webb, the pair of them coming in at 9 stone and 3 pounds. Webb was very comfortable, so it seemed, at the bantamweight limit of 8.5 stone. So he's some 3 pounds above the featherweight limit. So Roy Webb then, the blonde bearded boy from Larne, and his fellow 26-year-old Joe Donohue from Walworth in London. Webb, a very busy fighter in terms of when he gets into the ring. He's all action, non-stop, keeps coming forward, throws a lot of punches. Not so good perhaps when he's been forced backward. Just slightly noticeable, the extra increase in poundage, and some of that's just around the waist of Roy Webb. But he feels as if he's comfortable at featherweight, and his sights are set on a meeting with Paul Hodkinson, a member of the Eastwood stable, who's the current British champion. Left hand by Webb, his opponent dropping the guard, and Webb moving backwards well. A little bit of bruising already underneath the right eye of Donohue. Into the final minute of this first round. It's scheduled for 6 threes. Both of them well capable of doing that. Both pretty experienced boxers. Boxing confidently. Again, just he gets himself caught occasionally, but came back very quickly using his greater experience and a very good right hand. Tends to drop his left a little bit, Webb, and that's something he's not be wanting to do. Well, that was a shove, and Webb grins, and referee Barney Wilson helps him up and says, "Don't push." There's Roy Webb being ministered to by trainer Bobby McAllister, the man who looked after him throughout his amateur career when he was with the Honey Family Club. Began boxing his first pro fight in January 1984, and the best scalp that Roy Webb has in his career is that of the current British bantamweight champion Billy Hardy from Sunderland, and Roy Webb beat him as long ago as April '84. Lively enough start from Webb, but again, he just needs to watch his defense a little bit, because he has shown that he's occasionally susceptible to a punch, especially a right hand. Bobby McAllister smearing on grease to the face of Roy Webb, but it's merely just to make sure the opponent's gloves slide off. As Roy Webb contemplating the next 5 rounds. Good enough start by Webb. Was down on the canvas, but that was a shove from his opponent, Joe Donohue from Walworth in London, in the black trunks. And a couple of stiff enough, crisp left hands from the Londoner, like Webb, 26 years old. Donohue has come down a little bit. He normally boxes as a lightweight, anything from about 9.5 stone upwards. So he's come down, and Webb has gone up considerably since he turned professional. Well, the contender for the British bantamweight title, Webb, And if he keeps punching like that, he's going to be in consideration for a crack at the featherweight title. That was one of the best right hands we've seen thrown by Roy Webb for quite some time. Now the question is he going to be able to finish this off? So Webb lined his man up well with the left and came across with that sweet little right, and down went the Londoner. And it's nice to see, one has got to say, a very popular and polished and very likable young man. It's nice to see Roy Webb back boxing as accomplished as this. Good defense though. The last one got through. Donohue, another great right hand, and he may not get up from that. And that really was a cracker. And Webb goes into the neutral corner and is delighted with himself. And Joe Donohue from Walworth in London is not going to make it. And that's as impressive a finish as you're going to get. Donohue prone, Barney Wilson very sensibly taking the gum shield out, and Roy Webb thrilled and delighted. And two great right hands, and there was no answer to that whatsoever. Well, the first knockdown, and there it was a real slicing one. It didn't seem to make much of a contact. It was a crisp as you like. And the one that made all the difference coming up. And he caught it flush in the side of the jaw, and he didn't want to take any